Hi guys, Amber D here with How to DJ with me, Amber D. Today we are going to be looking at the subject of track arrangement, deconstructing a dance track. So as you can see in Fruity, I have arranged a very simple construction of the different attributes of a dance track. So we've got a kick, clap, open hat, cymbal crash, snare roll, and a couple of fills. So these are going to be the things that you should look out for when you start to realise where to bring in your next tune. So if I just show you what I've done up here. Now, I know it seems to be pretty much self-explanatory, but sometimes people don't realise what the kick is. So the kick is this. So the kick's sometimes called a bass drum or a kick drum, but it basically means exactly the same thing. So the kick usually is always in 4/4, which means 4 beats to 1 bar. So bars are going to be very useful for you to start understanding the construction of a dance track. So I'm going to show you now how to deconstruct all dance music, and this is going to help you in any genre that you want to play. So if you imagine you've got this one kick here, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now once 4 have passed, that's 1 bar. Now there are 4 bars, or sometimes 8 bars, usually it's 8 bars per phrase in dance music. So the way that we can see this visually from this demonstration here is after 8 bars, or 1 phase, which is to here, which is from here to here, then we've got some other things that have come in here. We've got another cymbal crash. We have one here as well, right at the beginning. And then we have some extra percussion loops come in as well. And that's how you can start to find out where the phases will be. Because sometimes you can have phases every 16 bars. Some techno sometimes goes every 32 bars, but it will always go in groups of 4 or 8 or 16. Okay, so that's kick. Also, as claps, quite self-explanatory. So here's a clap. And then you'd have heard an open hat. And this is going to be very useful, this cymbal crash here. Now, the best way to, if you ever get stuck in a track or you've lost your place a little bit and you're not sure which beat of the bar you're on, all you ever need to do is just listen out for the next cymbal crash. So whenever you hear a cymbal crash, that will give you the indication that this is the beginning of a new section or new phrase. So you'll hear it like this. So always look out for those cymbal crashes. Like I said, I've only just very quickly put this into Fruity. This is just basically to show you the different attributes to dance music, which is going to be very helpful for you. Okay, so the other things that we're going to be looking out for when we go to an example of a dance track, hard dance track, we've got these fills. Now what a fill is a very good indicator to allow you a tiny bit of notice by a couple of bars that something is about to happen within the track. So if you need to, you've got a bit lost, you can always wait till you hear one of these fills, and then you know that straight after this fill you're going to be getting another one of these cymbal crashes. So if you have a listen to what a fill usually sounds like. or it could be something like this. But it's always a signal of something's about to happen, something's going to be different within the track. And then after that, there always follows another crash. Like so. And the snare roll. Snare roll, this is a very, very good indicator again of something about to happen, and it actually gives you a lot longer to prepare for something to happen, so that you could be mixing in your next tune straight away after this point, because you should always be bringing in your next track, the first beat of that bar, right on the beginning of the bar that's already the bar of the tune that's already playing on the track that everyone can hear, if that makes sense. It will do, just bear with me. So this is a snare roll. And you'd have heard that in many, many dance tracks, I'm sure. So if we put all of this together, you can start remembering these attributes when we listen to a hard dance track. So here we go. There we go. So after that, you would probably have another section of kicks, and you'd probably have the bass line come in at this point in a normal track that's already made. Obviously, that's just a mock-up of some of the very basic attributes of a hard dance, EDM, trance track, anything really. So these are all the greatest things to look out for, which will help you to learn about how to basically preempt and intuitively know what's coming next within a track. So I hope that's helpful. So now we're going to move on to listening to an actual track. So I've got a couple of tracks that myself and Digital Mafia have done recently. If I just find them down here. So I should just move these up a little bit. Move these down. Okay, and so I'll just name these as well, so you can see what tracks they are if you want to get them off Beatport when they come out on Ideal Records. Right then, so what we're going to do now, let's get rid of that, and I'm going to show you how to label, well, we're going to label them in here anyway. I'm going to show you how to listen out for those sounds that we just went through within a normal track, because they're not always as obvious as that. So let's go through this track and have a listen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little label thing up here, and I'm going to label what we find. So I know every single track starts with a kick, so I'm going to put in kick in capitals, and I know that there's going to be a cymbal crash because it's the first beat of the bar of the track. So let's just whack that in there. Okay, and as we go along, when we listen to this, I'm going to start putting in more markers of the sounds that we went through here. So eventually we're going to have a whole inventory of all of these attributes along the top here, so you can begin to start pinpointing and listening out for these different sounds. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so you can see here, I've got too many kicks for me to label, to be quite honest. So we know what a kick is. We know that the cymbal crash now comes at the beginning of every single phase of a dance track. So if you think about it in this way, that is a lot of different times where if we get lost within the tune, we can find something that we know is going to come just before a cymbal crash. So if we know to listen out for the fill, like as in here, we know that the cymbal crash is going to come just after the fill. So we know that we can bring in and mix in our other tune, our second tune, from that cymbal crash. If we miss one from, obviously we're not going to be mixing it in from that early on. So after the main break, if you start panicking, especially at these, now these are an extra 2-bar drop, extra 2-bar break preceding the drop. Now what that's there for is it creates a little bit of extra tension and waiting for the drop to happen. So it's a very, very good move for producers to use this trick in order to create a little bit more hype before the drop. So sometimes they can be a bit confusing. So if you've ever been ready to drop in put your mix in, and then all of a sudden you get this so usually at that point we'd be thinking, I need to mix it in at that point, and then it goes. So this is where knowing your tunes comes in very, very useful. So once you understand that this is the trick that producers use, it's not going to freak you out. And then when you get better at mixing, you can even do 2 bars, start your mix from 2 bars before it actually gets to that point. So that if you wanted to do a very, very long mix, for example, I would, for example, if I wanted to start mixing from this point, I would count. And at that point there, I would be mixing the tune in. So what happens is by the time that it gets to here, it catches up with itself. And that's one of those moments where DJs who know about the drop in a certain track, they're like, oh, she's not accounted for that. And they're like, no, but I did. I just did it over here. And then they're like, whoa, man, that was fucking amazing. Like, yeah, baby, I knows it. So there you go. Basically, in a nutshell. But yeah, basically what this is designed to show you is it's very, very easy to start deconstructing music when you understand these certain patterns and algorithms of this dance music, which all dance music falls into these arrangement categories. And when you understand these and you hear them in the tracks, it will just really revolutionize your ability to mix, your ability to preempt what's happening, intuitively just know what's going to be happening next, and it won't freak you out just as much, I promise you. So another track that I've been doing lately, the first one there is a track by me and Digital Mafia called Somebody Special, and the second one that we've done is Wonky Donkey. So obviously they're by the same 2 producers, so they're going to work quite well in conjunction with each other anyway. But this is just to show you, if I match up this to a point where I would like to be mixing it in from, usually the best place to be mixing something in from will be after the main breakdown. Now we know it's the main breakdown, by the way, because there is no kick, there's no loops. It creates a sense of there is something different happening within the track, allows people on the dance floor to catch their breath, and allows us to build up the track ready for the next thing to happen. So you can just imagine that if you were mixing those with CDJs or on your software, etc., etc., you can just see that every single dance track, doesn't matter what tune I put in here, all of them would have this very same pattern to them. See, they've got a cymbal crash on the first kick of this new track I'm bringing in. Another one here. A fill would be here. And I haven't even heard, I don't even need to listen through to the track. I can just know now that all of these are going to be exactly the same as they were for the first track as they are for the second track. Every single track will have these attributes. And also outro. Now outro to me basically means the bass line has now disappeared from the track and we're now preparing for the next track to be coming in. So now there's no bass line, so that's the outro. At which point, with the track that we're mixing in, we want to try and match them up so that the bass line in this track will start at the point where the bass line in the first track finishes. And then that keeps the energy, it creates energy, and it keeps the mix interesting. So there we go, that's... There we go, so we've got the track 1 bass line is now gone, and track 2 the bass line has now been introduced. Obviously there are going to be very different variants of this depending on what genre of music you're playing, but they are going to relatively be in this organised sort of a state. So I really hope that helps, guys. And yeah, as usual, any questions, then just put them in the group and I will do my best to answer them. Lots of love. Bye.